Welcome to Lens House Studio, where we explore fatherhood, parenting, and everyday lesson that shape the next generation. Every parent wants to protect their children, right? But sometimes, without realizing it, we protect them from opportunity instead of danger. Today, we are talking about a question that every father and mother should ask themselves. Are we protecting our children or passing down our fear to them? Let's dive into it. And with me, I have the honor to have Benjamin in the studio.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for having me. It's always a pleasure being in the studio with you. And most especially, I want to welcome back everyone that is watching us across all platforms, most especially our YouTube family. This is Lifestyles, where we bring you family matters and also see if we can profile solution to this issue. We want to welcome you across all platforms again, and we always thank you. We always want to say thank you for always being there with us. And as you can see, there's a topic ahead of us today that we want to deal with. I know you might have missed us. We're so sorry. We've been busy watching the, FIFA World Cup. It's been amazing. And I can, all the fathers in the house can testify to that. Again, here we are. I can't just wait for us to get this topic out of the way. It's always an honor being in the studio with Steve Gentles. Let's get it started.
Yeah, a twist. Since you've talked about the sports, we've actually have been we're fans of football. I wrote something on Facebook, and if a primary school, secondary school friend of mine said, "Since when have you started calling it soccer? Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten your root?"
Exactly. We know it as football.
Yeah,
Football.
it's football. Even Donald Trump calls it football.
Correct.
It's actually a lovely game, and we've been enjoying taking our
True.
time. But notwithstanding, we still feel it's necessary for us to come down and also share experience. And as the topic is passing down, is it fear we're passing down to our kids, or we are actually encouraging? And to do that, we have series of questions that we're going to be asking ourselves and trying to profile answers based on our experience. And I always say this, I have to reiterate. We are not saying that we have figured it out 100%, but we know that we've gathered experience over the years and always have add to the conversation. So the first question is, what's one fear unknowingly that a parent typically pass down to their kids? What's one fear?
Wow, that's a very good question, honestly, and it's been one. I don't want to use one part of the journey, right? But it's been an amazing journey because hearing, what one fear that our parents unknowingly passed down to us. Hey, let me start, growing up. I often, heard words like "be careful," "don't fall," "don't take risks," or "don't take unnecessary risks." Now, looking back, my parents were always trying to stop me from my parents weren't trying to stop me from maybe succeeding. They'd had experience themselves. They've experienced hardship, and all what they were saying was just wanted to protect, each one of us when we were growing up. But then I realized that sometimes those fears, I carry some of these fears into adulthood. And I believe that it resonates with most of us because we're wondering that why do our parents always, pass down this, fear into us, right? And I would overthink the opportunity because I was afraid of making mistakes. I was lacking that ability. I was afraid of failing. But as I've grown older, I have learned that wisdom isn't avoiding every risk. It's about how you manage the risks. An example would be like, when I was trying to, trying out of do soccer, our parents said, don't bother. Those children have been playing for years. You don't need to be, good like them, just don't worry yourself. And our parents say, go and try. If you make it, we'll practice together and try again next year. Same situation, different future. So it's all about the approach. It's all about, what we are. But over times, right, I've come to realize that most of our parents does this, right, purposely because of the experience they've had. And the truth is that everybody has their own paths, right? There are some risks that are very, very, that are very, very key that you have to take, and your parents will not be there for you. But it's very important that you take their tutelage for you to be learned. And I'm going to end with this quote. Fear is taught, courage can be taught too. It's the word for everyone to know. And for us to know that when we speak to our children and we are telling them some of these things, it's because of what we have gone through. But again, kids will be kids. They want to try. They might want to yield to us. But whatever the case might be, we will just be there for them. That's how I will leave it. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Fear and courage can both be taught. We are actually a product of our parents,
Hmm.
our experience,
Correct.
our relationship,
Correct.
our environment. This is actually not what I planned, but it's just the way I'm feeling now. Let's talk about
Hmm.
it. I overheard someone talking about growing up in a rich home, and their conversation and narrations are always totally different. What he will take as impossible, that's what they discuss on the table as if it's normal
Hmm.
because of their environment, what they're exposed to. And it's very important also because the question is, what's one fear your parent unknowingly passed down?
That's that.
I
Correct.
can leave, maybe I cannot say fear of public speaking because in my own case, my dad is a pastor, so he speaks in the pulpit. My mom isn't. So if I'm not a typical, I'm not a classical person that just come out and just dash into conversation.
Hmm.
I'm reserved. So I can say I copied that from my mom. So that might be a
Hmm.
fear that, and it's not out of hatred that
Hmm.
you learn that. Is actually from what you have said, is actually out of their own experience. Whatever they pass down were a product of what they personally experienced, had, or they have seen. And that's why they are also trying to manage the exposure that if you go and who knows, maybe they've tried to speak in public and people ridicule them. I was in an interview panel where somebody
Hmm.
was invited to come and present their self. I think after the interview, there's now the, like, you take a topic and you present it. And when she was presenting it, the CV is so rich, but when she was presenting it, you can sense anxiety.
Nervousness.
She's so nervous in her
Hmm.
voice. Maybe because she hasn't practiced public speaking enough.
And know that she's
And
not good. She is good. She's
yeah,
sound.
her CV is so rich. So, and for that reason, that's what because she wasn't the one employed at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But I wasn't. My house is just grade and move on. So the people who took the final decision choose to pick someone else. So irrespective of how rich her CV was, she couldn't translate it in public speaking, and because the position also is a
Involved.
public speaking
Hmm.
position, which maybe she can grow into it.
Hmm.
I've been in a meeting too, maybe a director's meeting that I'm a little bit nervous. My voice shake too, but
But with
so
time.
now the tips is, what do I do? So I recite. Like
Hmm.
whenever I want to make presentation to people much more ahead of me, what do I do? I go ahead, I recite, because one of the things I learned early or when I was studying, I'm actually a good crammer. So I go and cram my speech over and over and over again, so that even if you ask me a question, you won't put me off.
Hmm.
So with that, something that I'm saying, I might not be thinking it at that moment, but because they are the buzzwords, when you use the buzzword in a meeting, people start,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
when they
exactly.
ask you, you try to explain it. So, like I can say, my mind might be a public speaking, which
Hmm.
I think I should have been able to emulate from my dad, who speaks in the public. But I think
Hmm.
I move more to my mom, and well, that's one of the stuff that I think
Hmm.
should be looked at.
Good.
So
Wow. Nice one.
number two, where is the line between protecting a child and limiting the child? Where do you draw the line between,
Hmm.
like, as a father? No, now the first one we spoke about the fear that we think was passed down unknowingly.
Oh.
Now is, where do you draw the line with that experience? Like me, that typically a shy guy, where do you draw the line between passing that same to my kids
So
and
yeah,
making sure
yeah,
that it's not part of.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
so
get the
here's the
question.
thing. So here's the thing now. You cannot strengthen someone by removing every challenge from their life. You can never strengthen, you cannot do that because the life itself is for it to be challenged. Now, as we parents, protecting our child, our children, regardless, is our responsibility. It's a must that we must do. But now there comes a point where protection can quietly become control. That is where we need to watch out. Now, if I never allow my child to make like an age appropriate mistake, how will they learn responsibility? You cannot tell me that, at a particular age, when you make some mess, when you do some stuff, I have to spank you. No, you have to make that mistake for you to get it right. So it is for you as a parent to ensure that we do not put our child into serious danger by saying, what are you doing? What rubbish are you? That the kind of tone, the kind of words, the kind of things to bring out for them to be able to understand the fact that there is a difference between responsibility and ensuring that you put your child, you are not doing it overboard, right? It's good to make mistakes, accept it, and let them learn from it. And that is why I said you cannot threaten someone by removing every challenge from their life. So sometimes we are not protecting them from dangers. We are protecting ourselves from worrying.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we should be very, 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 very clear about. So again, I will say this: smooth seas never made a skill sailor. If you understand that concept, you will know that for the fact that a sea is smooth doesn't necessarily say that the sailor is skillful. If you understand that proverb, you will understand that life itself comes with different ways. And
Turbulence.
as is exactly, and as a skilled sailor, you need to adapt to both, either smooth or turbulence. I will leave it like that. Let me hear from you.
Yeah, that's actually a good point that you've made. That I'm like, okay, where do I chip in? I'm also what I'm also trying to do. I'm also trying not to dilute what you have said because you actually
Yeah.
actually hits the point, and I'm also trying not to repeat the same thing. But where is the line drawn? I don't think it's a straight line. It's
Correct.
blurry and it's flexible
Exactly.
between risks and recklessness, between healthy caution and fear-based parenting.
Exactly.
Where do you draw the line?
Hmm.
Most of the time when we cancel our children might actually be out of worry. I'll give an example. There was a time one of my kids said she wants to go and sell lemonade
Hmm.
drink. So that's what they do in summer. So in the neighborhood. I was like, okay, which is because I took my time to go and read a little bit about it. It's actually one of the foundation of building like entrepreneurial. Those are indications that so this guy is actually has an entrepreneurial skills trying to sell. So I don't have problem with trying to sell. I have problem with what about if you put your lemonade out and nobody buys?
How would
So
they
I'll
feel?
not be the one. I'll not be the one to say to not be comforting you. I don't have a problem comforting you, but I'm also trying to say won't that discourage you from not taking some steps? Because we are like building blocks.
Correct.
So if each block upon each block, so when one collapse, it takes extra effort to put it back. If
Correct.
so, either way, I have my wife on the other grass. She's like, "Come on, just give her a time. Let her go do it." Blah 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 blah. Blah. And good
See, that's
enough,
yeah.
she decided to. So I was like, "Okay, go do it." And she went ahead and did it with three of her friends. They scoop our ice cream, scoop our ice, and all the rest.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
one of the
Wow.
parents. One of the parents actually was more involved in it and even sponsored to buy them the lemonade and the lemonade stand.
Wow. Wow.
And they sold like 100. They made to them they made a profit of $100. But it's like that's not
Wonderful.
how accounting is done. You have to factor in your cost.
They don't care as long as the money is involved
Yeah,
and they got the
they made
money.
$100 and they slashed it into three places. And she, so my fear and worry did not
Hmm. Hmm.
actualize.
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
afraid that she won't sell
Hmm.
that, you understand? So in some cases, you have to be mindful. So you have to manage the risk. So
Hmm.
finally, before I leave this topic, one of the reasons why I also easily said yes is because I've looked at what is the risk of her not selling. Because
Hmm.
I say
Hmm.
risk versus recklessness. Is
Hmm.
it going to is it going to recklessly affect her?
Hmm.
No.
Hmm.
Healthy caution versus fear-based parenting.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I had to weigh both. When you should, as a parent, say no, and when you
Hmm.
should step back. So those are things that you, as a parent, have to really look at and make sure.
Correct.
Always try, and I'll continue saying this on each of the topic. Always try to ask yourself that: Am I speaking out of fear,
Hmm.
or and because of that, am I holding an opportunity back?
Hmm.
Am I speaking out of fear that The reason why I'm doing and some of these might not be intentional, is already built, some fear already baked into us. To be candid, I think where I grew up is a fear, not fear like I'm afraid of my parents, but even in the linguals, there's so many fear baked into how parenting is done. For example, rather than saying, "Hey, can you do the dishes?" You say, "Let me come back," and the dishes are not done. You can see all those linguals are fear quoted. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's go to the
Yeah.
Have you ever caught yourself discouraging your child because of your own past experience?
Mm.
An example might be sport, business, which is what I just talking about, relationship, money, travels. It is. Have you
So
ever
yeah,
caught
yeah.
yourself discouraging your children?
So let me start by using this adage that says your child future should not be limited by your past, right? Your child's future should not be limited by your past. Now, why am I saying this? Now, I've had a moment where I caught myself saying no before even thinking about it, right? They will come to me and I said no, I will think about it. And I always tell them, once I say no, that's full stop. Then I ask myself, am I saying no because it's dangerous or because I'm remembering my own disappointment? Sometimes we are talking to our younger self instead of our children. So a parent who struggles in school, well, they tell their child you are properly not a science person instead of asking, how can I help? So when we bring this thing to concept, you understand that at times when we discourage our children is because of our past experience. But note one thing, the world is changing, the world is moving. What you might have done in the past where you failed, your child may succeed. And as a parent, regardless of whatever the issue might be, because of the fact that you have failed, and that's why you're discouraging your children, you shouldn't do that. But rather, you should support them 100%. I will leave it like that. Let me hear from you.
Yeah, good one. You're actually more prepared than me today. Very, very.
No,
So
I'll do that.
rather than giving my own comment, I'm like, yeah, he's actually giving the buzzword. Hitting the Okay. I will talk about sport. I did not grow up in an environment where basketball is popular,
Correct.
but I have friends who play basketball.
Yeah.
So when I have a kid showing interest in basketball, I'm like, soccer would have been better. Funny enough, we enrolled her in the soccer team, my daughter.
I want to
So
do
she
that for my
went there
daughters too now.
and yeah.
I'm teaching them how to pass ball. Little by little. I'm teaching them now.
Funny enough, we actually have in the backyard, we have this, it's called monkey pose.
Yeah, monkey
So
pose, exactly.
So for the sake of those who don't know, monkey pose is like
It's a little field that we just put,
yeah, semi-little. They sell it in Walmart and Sam's Club and Kroger. All those store either way.
correct.
So you can buy. So I teach them how to play soccer, but I noticed that they are not good at it because it's so embarrassing. I'll dribble, they'll be tired. I'll dribble, they'll be tired. Nobody's taking ball from me. Anyway, we enrolled my daughter into soccer into football. We enrolled her into football and she did well because she had,
Wow.
there's some people who just like sport.
They love, yeah, it's true.
So averagely, she was average, but I didn't see spark. So then she was showing interest in basketball. But because I don't know basketball, I was discouraging. I was moving more towards soccer, but she was moving more towards basketball. At the end of the day, she's doing very, very well playing for her school basketball.
Beautiful,
That being
beautiful.
said, if I had allowed myself to say, hey, you have to play football, you have to play football, it's me trying to teach her what she might struggle in.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's a typical example of you. I like to use practical example of things that you need to watch out for. Secondly, might also be, how we make friends. I never remember. Okay, I know we used to go to family house, but I don't remember I was doing all these play dates, going to sleep over.
No, we don't do that. We make our own friends on the field. If you go out, we just blend sharply. By neighbors, everyone that comes out, right? We blend. We are it's very easy those days, right? You
Um,
leave your zone, you leave a particular thing. Football connects everyone, You want to play dog tennis. When we use all this plywood to be playing long tennis, we don't use what is net. My God.
so all these play dates and the rest is strange to me. But I also noticed that after a time, is the culture here.
This culture.
After a time, I start allowing it. Whenever we are the host, it's always terrible. Terrible, not in the sense that afterward we have to do cleanup. Afterward, we have to sleep late,
It
and the
happens. It
rest.
happens.
But
It
it's
happens.
keeping is building a kind of relationship that I'm somehow jealous of. That, oh, look at these kids. They actually
Mm.
like, for example, the one I talked about, her doing selling drink
Yeah.
is actually, so those relationships that she can call three more of her friends
Mm.
and they start the lemonade business. So those are products of all those
That's how
dates.
they build. That's how they build connection, networking.
Yeah,
Over the years, and and these are things you remember as you grow up. I remember when I was studying ceremony. We were
yeah,
good team members. You never know how that act on its own can take them. You never know.
exactly. So it's building connection and relationship. So I would ordinarily have opposite, but now is does that become? I just will come the next day in the morning. I was like, oh, well, in this week we're having two people coming over, or this person going over, and it's working well. So
It's
those
working
are
out.
one of the things that I will ordinarily have discouraged, but
Mm.
so building relationship, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sports and building relationship,
Mm.
which could work out as planned. The fourth one,
Yes.
what fear are most commonly passed from one generation to the other? Fear passed from one generation to the other. Should I start with it?
Yeah, you can start. Let's start.
Yeah,
Let me hear you.
marriage is
I'm
one
listening
fear.
to. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Marriage is one fear passed down from one generation to the other. When people, irrespective of how exposed we are now, if you, even for example, in Nigeria is multilingual and different religion,
Correct.
you cannot,
Different culture.
different culture, you cannot come, and when I was in high college, there is no how, because I schooled in the north, and I wasn't doing bad. I have so many friends that are female, that are of northern region, and they are Muslim. No matter how much connections we have, I cannot. There's a boundary. I like,
Mm.
this is
Mm.
a no-go area. So
Mm.
I'm not saying
Basiga.
that you said you
Basiga.
said
Basiga. I remember those words when I was serving in Jigawa then. You cannot go to some people. Basiga, don't go. I remember all those time, back then.
so. No matter how close and
Mm.
friendly I'm with any of my course or classmates or junior course or
Mm.
classmates, our relationship can only stand between the boundary of a school. I cannot show that because of the difference in religion and culture and background,
Upbringing,
the
exactly.
upbringing. So now, if anybody from different part of the country bring in a relationship outside their own,
Mm.
there's a way somehow, it might not be outrightly spoken, but with all the acts that if you want to marry, you must not exceed this boundary. Or if you want to, so because of that, so those are part of, so we are not exploring what that, I don't know what that could have been.
Mm.
You know. So maybe, for example, you're allowed to freely marry. We don't know what that could have been,
Mm.
but because there's like a delineation, like
Correct.
a barrier. So that's one of the things that is passed down to the other. Another one for me is also education. They take it as if you do not go to school, your life will be truncated. Like then, I'm thinking in two phases. I'm thinking now and I'm thinking then. Then when I was growing up, it's like there is a line that you have to cross. Primary school, secondary school, university, work. You understand? So there is no primary school, secondary school, go and learn trades, do
Mm.
business. So education is like more or less the only way.
Mm.
Very good.
That's the option we
It
had then.
is, you can say it's keeping you safe,
Correct.
but it's not exposing you to some other opportunity.
Correct.
So that could be out of their fear that people who went to school did very well. People who didn't go to school, artisans, are poor in society. Because of that, you must go to school. So that's actually my take. What do you think?
Well, I will just start a little based on what you said. And the little I will add is that now fear doesn't stop death. Fear stops life. I have seen incredible talented opportunity. People miss opportunity because they are confused. They are convinced. They convince themselves that they weren't good enough. Now, here's the kicker. Another person else tried it I decide I want to do it and they succeed. So the thing is just that you should not allow fear to stop you from doing what you want to do in life. Honestly, I agree with you based on that aspect of, marriage. I remember when I was growing up also, and, when we got to, I think during my university days, I know my dad would always tell most of us that I am not going beyond the boundary of Southwest if you want to go and get married. Because I don't understand their language, I don't understand their culture. The culture that I know are from Southwest. Anyone beyond this door, I'm not going. And that thing resonates with me. I can tell you that every one of us that are married, we marry from Southwest. But now, here's the thing. Now that we have left the shore of Nigeria, will that principle apply to my children now? Will I tell them now that, okay, now that we are here, you must marry in Nigeria? Let's talk about maybe another tribe, or maybe Igbo or Hausa or Yoruba, you must marry, So, my brother, it's all about, see, the thing is this, we have to understand that whatever we are trying to fear we are creating in ourselves is an illusion. It is for us to understand that once you put it in your heart, in your mind, it doesn't stop anyone from not dying. But once you put it too much, it stops life. Enjoy your life. Whatever things that comes your way, embrace it and let it be part of you. You might face challenges, right? Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fear of money? Is it the fear of people? Is it the fear of rejection? Come on. Everything will pass. Fear is an illusion. Don't let it stop your life. So please enjoy your life because again, see, just like we've lived our life. Our parents have lived their life. These children will live their life and they'll be fine. We will just have to be there to support them and guide them through. I will
Yeah.
leave it like that.
Yeah, those are good points. I wanted to say something, but I won't. I'll just go to number 5.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy do you really want your children to inherit? Do you want them to inherit anxiety, scarcity-minded, limit belief, or do you
Mm,
want them courageous, have
mm.
faith, curious, confident, have emotional intelligence and resilience?
So I
What's
will
your
start.
take?
I will start with this. Children becomes what they see more often than what they are told. Again, I'm going to borrow a word from the Bible. Train up a child the way he should go, and when it grows up, it will not depart from it. Those principles still applies. It still applies. Another word of the Lord which says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." See, it's all about when people talk about inheritance, they usually think about horses, land, money. But long before children inherit all this possession, they inherit our attitude. They inherit how we respond to problems. They inherit how we treat people. They will inherit how we handle failures. They will inherit how we trust God. That is one of the things we should imbibe in them because sincerely speaking, all those things can never be replaced with whatever inheritance you want to take from your family, land, property. So as a father, I don't want my child to remember me for what I have or for what I'm going to give them, but I want them to remember me for someone that we pray together, we do things together. I help you, I encourage you. I believed in you even when you doubted yourself. That is what we should be remembered for. That is what our children should remember us for. Again, a father that planted 2 trees, one he constantly tied to his stick because he was afraid that the wind would damage it. The other one trees stood freely. Yesterday, the Thai tree had swallowed wood because it has never had to fight, but the fig tree developed deep roots because of what? It learns to withstand the storm of life, the thunder, the tornado happening all over the world. It was solid. Sometimes the struggle we are trying to remove is exactly what built us. So again, I would say children becomes what they see more often than what they are told. What's from your side?
Do I still need to say any other thing? Anyways, yeah, you could pass down, it's 2 things. You can choose
Correct.
to say it or you can choose to do it. Children learn what you do more than what you say.
Correct.
How you face, you can choose to say, I want to pass down courage, resilience to my kids. But at the moment where you're supposed to show courage, you show fear. They know that when you see challenge, show fear. So what I'm trying to say is that do it, act it, show it, demonstrate it. Let them see you in those acts. Let them see you do it. Show an example of what you're trying to pass down. Tell them story. One of the most powerful preachers or public speakers are good storytellers. Sometimes I forget what my pastor preached, but the story somehow resonates with me, and there's wisdom packaged in that story. So one of the thing I easily remember about my mom is that I know most about, even though I might not be outspoken. I know so many things about so many members of the family because of story. She would tell me story how this happened and how
mm,
they responded, how they
mm,
reacted.
mm,
So those are like scene, like a movie, different. So
mm,
it makes like in this scene, this is how to respond. Don't be anxious. Don't have a limiting, scarcity-minded
mm, mm,
person.
mm, 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 mm.
Explore. And as you have said, that's what your children should remember you for.
So,
That you are courageous, like you don't give up. So those are legacy that children should see. I'm using the word see, not hear,
correct.
even though it's a part of it, but that what they see stick
Action is
more.
louder than words. Action. You
Yes,
have to say it. Yeah.
those actions.
Mm,
You want your child to be respectful, be respectful. How you address the lowly people is important. Don't be overly, as husband and wife, for example, you have situation whereby you be hungry, but don't be foolishly overly angry that
mm,
you
mm,
look
mm,
uncontrollable.
mm,
What you are
mm,
telling them that in this scene, I
mm.
need to be angry and be uncontrollable.
True.
A typical example is when one of my kids was starting, because it's basketball is very, very competitive. No matter how
Correct.
good you are, you will sit on the bench first before they
Yes.
start giving you
Yes. Yes.
time.
Yes. Yes. That's true. It's
So
true.
she was sitting on the bench and I could read some part of her. I noticed that water bottle, she was sucking on it. So I was sitting and yeah, it's paining her that she's not getting playing time.
And you are seeing, you are observing it.
Yeah, and I know that there's some mistake that is going on that she could do very well. So when we finish, so I studied her for like 2 or 3 different games. So in one of the end of the game, so I now say, tell me about how frustrated you are in the game. You say, oh no, no. Say, but I saw you sucking on your water bottle. I know you are so frustrated that you're not giving time. As if I broke something. But yeah, she started talking like, yeah. So this is what I told her.
Mm,
What that is doing for you is that is building character.
true.
At some time in my office, I feel like slamming the head of my boss.
But what can we do? The work has
But
to
I
be
can't,
done, right? We
yeah,
can't
but
do
I
it.
can't do that.
We can never.
Yes. So that if you watch some football player, they are playing ball and they'll maybe after some few minutes, their coach remove them. See, then they'll kick the water bottle. They are dispelling anger. You understand? But they cannot dispel it on human being. So I'm happy that your outlet is to suck your water bottle. And now she's even getting more time that she's like, oh, I need to rest. But it did not start that way. So
Yeah.
people trust you over time. So that might not be directly applicable to this, but it's an example of what they see. So
Correct.
they have seen me being angry. Like Bible says, you can be angry but do not commit sin. They have
Exactly.
seen me angry but being managing it, but not over. So what you say,
Mm,
what you do is more important, and it's a legacy that can be passed down. So we should be cautious. We should have guardrail around us,
mm,
not to
mm,
overly.
mm.
Your children are going to go a long way. Yeah,
Correct.
that's
Correct.
actually a wrap. Do you want to say anything before we close it?
Yes, I just want to quickly chip in this. Now, I want parents, dear parents, I know you're watching us. So I want you to understand that we cannot remove every obstacle from our children's path. It's not possible. But we can choose not to add our own fear to the load they already have to carry. Let us raise children who are wise, right? Instead of fearful, who are courageous instead of anxious, who are confident enough to pursue the purpose God has placed in their life. It is very key for us to understand it from that aspect. And again, if today's conversation encourages you, please don't forget to share, subscribe, leave a comment. We want to hear from you. What's one fear you have decided will stop you. Until that next time, keep raising your children with love, wisdom, courage, faith, and God bless you all. Team Toast, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure being with
Yeah, that's a good wrap and a good sign out. Thank you guys. See you next time.
you. See you next time.
Bye.